Hey there, and welcome back. Hope you're having a great week. Something I've been thinking about a lot recently has been this negative sentiment that it seems a lot of people have about backlogs. Now, I've had a backlog for about as long as I've been someone who plays video games, and I think there are a lot of ways to go about approaching a backlog. And I think there are a lot of ways we can get hung up on tackling this in the quote unquote most efficient way, or the way that is going to give us the biggest bang for our buck, or really maximize our time. And I've seen videos where people include spreadsheets with daily time they need to play games based off of how long to beat websites, or something silly that I did was creating a Word document and just keeping meticulous track of every single game I played throughout a year, as well as some notes that I had that would help me remember the games I had was playing. But what I noticed when I was doing that, I wasn't playing the game for the purpose of enjoying and playing that game. What I found was that I was playing the game for the sole purpose of completing that game. And what I noticed was that I was missing out on specific things that the game was trying to show me, or specific things the game was trying to tell me. I think it's important to beat video games. I think completing those stories, or really getting to experience all of the mechanics that these developers have put into these video games, is important. And what that does is it influences your ability to pick games going forward. It also allows you to develop patience, which is really funny to say when you're talking about video games and a hobby you have. As someone who has really tried to beat video games and has tried to understand why I like beating so many video games, I've found that the muscle I was flexing and really working on the most was my patience. I had grown up playing so many Call of Duty campaigns and experienced these short, high dopamine bursts of gameplay where it was just one incredible set piece followed by another. And then you would get into the multiplayer where it was this nonstop barrage of action. And as a kid and as a teenager, just feeling that insane adrenaline rush was so influential on what I expected to get from video games that I had no patience for a slower, more deliberate and drawn out game. So when I went back and I was attempting to play these big open world RPGs, or these deep mechanical games, I found myself really bouncing off of them and not getting that same high, or that same level of dopamine that I was getting from these silly games. So what I had to train myself to do was to create challenges within playing the game itself that would give me that same sense of gratification. It would be something as small as completing a couple side quests in The Witcher 3, or exploring a cave in Skyrim. Once I was able to start retraining my brain on enjoying the process and not solely enjoying the outcome, I realized that beating the game is a byproduct of enjoying a game. With all of that being said, though, there is also the argument that not every game is for everyone. I certainly believe that. I also believe that we as people go through different stages and seasons of life. As I've gotten older and I've noticed my patience has gotten higher and my interest in these short burst dopamine hits from multiplayer games has gone down. And I do find more satisfaction in building a character in an RPG and role playing within that world and turning every character that I can create into Vin Diesel. That's what I have decided. That's my spirit animal. Vin Diesel from the Fast and Furious is who I am in every video game. And if I'm not, then it's not a good RPG. That's not true. But the statement stands. I do find so much enjoyment of looking at a save file and remembering all of the funny things that I would create with my own imagination. I've really noticed that when I get out of my own way and allow the game to come to me and I go to it on those terms, I have so much fun. I have a lot of really good memories from playing games, even recently, games that are so silly, that have absolutely no basis in any strong narrative. A game like Vampire Survivor or Brotato, I find that I relate to these silly avatars in ways that I develop personal bonds with. And I want these little sprites to succeed so much. And I'm so invested in that repetition and that progress. Now, I'm not saying you need to fall in love with a potato or you need to fall in love with whatever character you're playing as in your game. What I'm saying is to look for the things you like about those games and use that to propel you through that experience. Now, there have been situations where mechanics get old, stories kind of unravel, and it feels like the game is missing its own plot. Not every game is perfect, and not every game is absolute dog shit, cannot complete, cannot recommend. If you go into seeing games and think about the people behind them and the vision they might have had going into that game, I have found that it does help me to meet the game where it is. And in those experiences, I have found way more enjoyment. So, to wrap this up, I don't think you need to beat every game. I don't think you need to fall in love with every game. And I don't think having a big, scary backlog or having backlog fatigue and staring at your Steam library, scrolling up and down, looking for the next game to play is a bad thing. And I don't think it's the end of the world. A lesson I learned from, I don't even remember where, was to start something, anything, and do it for 2 minutes. And you will find in that 2 minutes, if that's something you want to continue, and if it is something you want to continue, more often than not, you're far past the 2 minutes for you to realize that you are enjoying it. And if you are miserable the entirety of that 2 minutes, then now is not the time to do that thing. If you've made it this far, I want to say thank you so much for watching the video. Please let me know in the comments if the 2-minute rule has helped you. And until then, I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great rest of your week.